And I'm done. And my weft has stayed really nice and straight. I'm pretty pleased with that. It kind of straightened up more than it used to be. This will become, I'll tie that off with my other warp yarns when I cut them, and then I'm going to knot them to make my fringe. I got 3 eggs today. You notice these two are the same color. So they almost certainly came from my 2 big fluffy brown hens, Patty and Lucy. And then this one probably came from Marcy. She's the other one. And notice how it's a little smaller, and she is a slightly smaller hen. I was reaching in my pocket for my phone, and I discovered an egg I must have collected a day or 2 ago and just left it in my pocket. So we'll take it inside too. 4 new eggs. Yay. The chickens are all doing well. They've assimilated into one nice flock. They have survived a really bad cold snap. Poor little Dandy over there, the white one, is molting pretty badly. And then Coco Melon, who's hiding behind the rooster, she's just getting over a molt. So they're not laying. And Sheena is 6.5 years old. So I know she doesn't look it, but she's not laying either. Just the new hens. I'm making a hat. I don't know what fiber this is. It was just in a ball. I don't think it's synthetic. It has too much glow and hair. It's very soft, and some acrylics can be soft, but it's more what it looks like. It doesn't look like acrylic or synthetic yarn. It's very soft. I love the colors. Isn't that fun? Very natural. So I'm making myself a hat. I'm trying to see if I can get a hat that will fit my strangely shaped head. I'm doing 5 purl, 5 knit. I'm doing this all the way up. The entire thing will have a wide ribbing. I did not count my stitches before I really just cast on and then held the circular needles around my head till I felt like I had a good fit. And so I have one band that is quite wide. And I think I'm going to put some kind of a little knitted bow there to accentuate the fact that it's different instead of being embarrassed about it. Also, at some point, you guys know how it is, I changed direction. I did. I know I did. Because that wide band, initially I was knitting it, and now I'm purling it. So, I'm not sure when I did that, how I did that. I've tried to go back and find where I did that. No luck. So I'm just going to keep on going. It is, after all, only a hat. And I'm really close to being done. Let's show you what it looks like. Now, I'm not looking like much today because I need how to wear your knitting. Needles and all. Hats tend to go off of my head. They ride up and then just pop off. So I need one that is just the right amount of snugness and will tuck under my ears. It tends to go up above my ears, so I'm hoping that this one will work. That looks pretty good. Feels good. If they're too tight, they ride off. If they're too loose, they don't stay on. You know how it is. So, yeah, I'm liking that. I'm getting close to the top. Now, for you folks out there who love wool and long to go to Scotland or the Shetland Islands but know that you'll never get there, I want to share with you a YouTube channel that I have just found. Let me show you what I've been watching. Now this, I've been watching just these through and through over and over. There's so many different ones. This lady is into natural dyeing. SWW film series. The channel is Shetland Amenity Trust. But there's so many wonderful wool videos, and they're about half-hour long, so go check that out. This is a Shetland dye garden with Bunchy Casey. That's the lady's name. She lives near the ocean. I've been watching natural dyeing videos, and I remembered my tarragon bush and came to look at it, and I have waited a little bit long to harvest the blooms. I'm going to go ahead and cut what I can, maybe get some greenery with it, and I'll do a little bit of dyeing with it and see what I get. I should have done a better job keeping track of the blooms. After about 3 extremely cold days where the house was freezing and we had all the space heaters going and everything, now the weather has warmed. It's about over 60 degrees today. It's gorgeous outside. It's not windy. And I'm doing all the outside chores, taking care of my chickens, letting the dogs lie in the grass, tending to some plants a little bit, looking at some bulbs that came up that I knew that they would. I had them covered in a shallow dish, but it's so pretty to see something freaking up out of the ground in December. Isn't that great? So yeah, a light week this week. Glad to have you here. I've done a little bit of knitting, and I'm going to share with you the knitting that I've been working on my wacky sweater that is taking scraps into sweater. All right, here it is so far. Now, this is a knitted top-down sweater, meaning that it starts at the neck. So this opening here is the neck opening. And you can kind of see, well, this one's twisted around, but you can see the collar stand here. Okay. And then it goes down into the placket. And later on, we'll be finishing this off. Now, this is the same pattern that I used to do the brown sweater, but the brown wool was thick, and so I changed the stitch count, and that's how I ended up with the brown sweater being too big, and I had to cut parts of it out. That was horrible. This time I'm sticking to the stitch request that the pattern makes for an extra large, which is my size. So we will hope that this will fit without any changes. Almost all the yarn is, standard number 4 worsted weight. Where it's not, where like it's baby yarn or something like this white, I've put a white and a blue together to bulk it up a little bit so that it'll match the other. Most of it is acrylic. I do know that this red in here is wool. It's a wool single that I really liked. I didn't have much of that. And I'm just going from color to color, and then, on the back you have joins like that, and I might take a crochet hook and put those in if I feel like it. So far, I'm really pleased though, and it's a nice mindless thing. Now, I am primarily doing a stockinette stitch with the knit on the outside and the purl on the inside, but every now and then I'm just doing an extra row of purl showing on the outside, which is kind of nice because that's a knit row on the other side, on the inside, and that's a nice relief for my hands. So here's one, it might be 2 rows of purl sticking out here and a couple rows there and one there. And I think that I noticed that in the original of this, the inspiration for this sweater was something I shared a few weeks ago, and maybe I'll put a picture here of the girl on her narrow boat wearing the sweater that caught my attention. So I'm almost to the end of this first little center pull ball, and what I think I've got maybe a dozen of them. So I'm hoping I'll have enough for my sweater. I have not gotten to the change for the arm openings yet. I'm doing the increase in the back before we get to the division for the sleeves. So I'm really pleased. I like these bright colors, and I like the darker colors. I looked at all of the little balls of wool that I had there and picked one that had colors that I thought I would like around my neck. Something a bit more rich. All right, I'll keep you posted on this. This is kind of my Christmas, New Year knitting project. I'm having leftover vegetable stew today for lunch. This has got hamburger meat, pasta, carrots, peas, corn, what else? Also some potatoes and about a half a can of diced tomatoes. I forget what. Oh, there's the packet of French onion soup in there along with some bouillon.